Good Friday morning to you. This week we've spent some time talking about hope. We've looked at some of the crushers of hope that exist in this world. We've talked about how hope gives us a sense of perseverance and resilience, sometimes and maybe often beyond what we see in the moment. Today, as we end our week, I just want to talk about the promise of hope. I was thinking about how throughout the scriptures we have this thread, this promise that existed all the way back to Abraham. It was a promise that God would be our God and that he had a plan for us, that he had a purpose for us. And not only for us, but he had a plan and purpose for the salvation of the world. As we get into the Christmas season, many of our texts will come from the book of Isaiah. The prophet is the foreshadower of all that is to come. And often we will read phrases like, the root from the stump of Jesse. Now I was thinking about trees and how they grow in perspective to hope. The reality is the scriptures use metaphors like trees because it's something tangible that we can fully understand and yet maybe better understand something incomprehensible, like the presence of God in our lives, the love of God for the world. And Jesus uses this metaphor in addition to what the prophet says on his arrival. Jesus uses this metaphor for us, for his disciples. In John 15, verse 5 through 8, it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Now, I just want to pause there with verse 5. Because if you think about it, Jesus is this shoot from the stump of Jesse. He's the messianic promise fulfilled. And before he goes to the cross, before he suffers and dies and becomes that promise fulfilled for all eternity, he tells his disciples, he speaks through the generations to you and to me, and he says, no, I'm the vine. That root, that shoot from the stump of Jesse, that promise made long ago, it not only is me, but it continues through me. That's what Jesus is saying to us. God's promise didn't stop with Jesus. It continues through Christ. As he becomes the new vine, the new Adam, the new restoration to all of God's creation, he then invites us, abide in me. In verse 6, it says, if you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me, and my word remains in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As we hold on to the hope that God provides, as we wait with expectation for Christmas, for our Emmanuel, our God with us, we should also be reminded that our hope exists in the faith that we are given today. It's not just something that we long for the future, it's happening every day in our lives. Jesus promises us, remain in my word. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Our hope is all about promise. A promise for you and for me for every day of our lives. A promise that we get to live out, not just one day in the future yet to come, but today. Remain in me. That's as simple as it gets. When we talk about hope, we aren't talking about an intangible thought or spiritual idea. We're talking about the reality of what it is to live a life of faith in Christ. This is my Father's glory. Jesus Christ is his Father's glory. And we, living into our Christ, living into the one who came for us, the promise fulfilled, we too become part of God's glory, that we bear much fruit, that we continue the fruit bearing as part of the original stump, back all the way to Jesse, to that messianic promise that was made long before you or I ever existed. The continuation goes through us and through all those yet to come. I don't know about you, but I don't think there is anything else that could better describe the hope I desire from God. It's a hope that exists right here, right now, for you and for me. It's a hope that has promise. It's a hope that has resilience. It has a hope that can face anything that we face in this world, anything that has been and will be and might ever be. It's such a cool thing to think about. We are a direct connection to the hope fulfilled in Christ because Christ invites us to abide in him and he in us. What a gift. I hope you have a great end of your week and a wonderful weekend. And don't forget, we're back in worship on Sunday with our 4 services. Can't wait to see you.